Hey everyone, today we're going to be servicing this Mercedes Sprinter. These are the tools you require. You need the special adapter to open the oil filter housing. You should see it now in the video here, what it is. I use a 3/8 socket and a couple of extensions for this tool. And you can use the same type. You can use the same ratchet for opening the sump hole, but I just use a 1/2 inch. So it's a 13 mm socket to remove that sump bolt. And you also need a large catch can just to catch all the oil, at least 10 liters minimum. Start by just opening the oil cap. Just open it, you don't need to take it out, just leave it here so that all the oil gets drained faster. When you open your bottom bolt, I'll show you what to do up here. Get 13 mm socket. Just open the sump bolt. Get your rag ready just to wipe your hands. If possible, try and warm up your engine before doing this so that the oil comes out a lot quicker and you get rid of all the old oil. So let that all drain out completely until it starts dripping. Give this a good wipe and you can change the crush washer on it. But make sure you replace that after every oil change. Now what we're going to do next is we're just going to open this oil filter housing and lift up the cartridge so that all the old oil from around here drains to the sump. I don't know if you can notice I removed the airbox here just to make it easier to video and show you all how it's done. You don't need to bother doing any of that. It's just for the video purpose. I removed the airbox. Get your cloth there and keep it ready. So you just want to lift it up like that. Just take it out. Let the old oil drain out. Okay, so now we can change this cartridge filter. Make sure you get your new filter and make sure it comes with the appropriate O-rings. You might notice it comes with multiple. Just this engine was used for a lot of different applications, so use the ones that are needed for your application. So with your pick tool, after you pull out the filter, inspect this, check for any cracks or damage or anything of that sort. So with your pick tool, now you can start removing the O-ring. You can use a pick or you can use a screwdriver or anything of that sort. Try and match it up with the correct O-ring. So as you can see, I need those two and this large one to go around the housing here. Make sure they're all correct. So what I like to do is I like to start with the bottom one. And install your top one. Make sure you lube up all the O-rings before reinstalling it. I'll show you what to do. Also make sure it sits properly in the top groove. Make sure it does not sit anywhere else, because it will not seal properly and you'll have oil leakages or worse, engine failure. Make sure it's right at the top here, exactly where you removed it. Now you can compare the filter. Make sure they're the same size, same diameter, everything's the same. And when you're putting it in, like I said, make sure you lube up the O-rings. You should hear that click. That means it's set in place. Now we'll go back to the vehicle and install that. Don't forget to lube up your O-rings. You can use just a bit of oil. Just make sure they're all lubricated nicely. So this O-ring, this one and this one, lube them all up. Now you can slot this filter in. Put your tool back on and tighten it down to the specific torque setting appropriate to your vehicle. Doesn't really matter if you put them, I'll just get a trick out of it. So I forgot to mention earlier, you also need a torque wrench. On these Mercedes and most vehicles that have plastic oil filter tops, they do have a torque spec written on the top itself. So this Mercedes requires it to be tightened down to 25 Newton meters. So with your torque wrench, set that to 25 newtons and make sure you don't over torque it because they're only plastic anyway. Okay, so that's all tightened down. So if you made any mess around here or anything, just give this whole area a wipe down. Use your cloth or similar and just clean up everything, clean up any mess or anything you've made here. Clean up any of the oil that you might have dropped here. Make sure nothing's fallen on the belt or anything. And you can go to the bottom and you can tighten up the sump plug now. So when the oil stops dripping or it's a very slow drip, you can tighten off your sump plug. Get your appropriate torque setting and torque it down. So with your old oil, you'll collect roughly about 10 liters. So make sure you have 10 liters of oil to top up. They do take a lot of oil, and with this much oil, make sure you dispose of it in a safe manner. Always take it to a proper recycling center. Do not just tip it down a drain or anything of that sort. You need at least 10 liters of oil. So I like to get them in these large quantities. This particular Mercedes called for a 5W40 fully synthetic oil, and your owner's manual as to what the recommendation is, because there is different types of oils. There's 229.3 and 229.5. You just want to make sure you get the right oil, so consult your owner's manual and make sure you get the right type. But you need at least 10 liters of oil to fill in this engine. It does take a lot of oil. So there's two ways you can check the oil. The main way, obviously, and the best way is with the dipstick there. The second way is after you fill up the oil. There's a sensor built into the sump, so you can check it via the cluster. I'll put a link in the description below, as I made another video showing how to do this, so I'll just link that in the description. So with your rag, just pull out your dipstick and just check the level. Give that a wipe. It's just at the max line. When we started, the oil level will go down a bit. So that's perfect at the moment. So when your oil level's topped up to the top max line, just briefly start it, let it run, and then turn it off again and let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then check the oil again. Then you'll want to top up anything that needs to be added. Make sure you clean up everything around your area, and like I said, a link in the description below showing my other video on how to check the oil level via the gauge cluster. When you start it as well, just make sure you have no oil pressure light or anything else of that sort on. Everything should go off. If your oil pressure light comes on, immediately turn it off and investigate why the oil pressure light has come on. Just a tip if you need it. Now you can just turn it off and let it sit for a couple of minutes. Then you can just top up any remaining oil that needs to be topped up. Just make sure it's on a level ground that you check the oil. Apart from that, you should be good to go from there. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Thanks, guys.